Cloaked in the shadows.
Amanda,
Andy, this is Cloaked in the Shadows.
what is Cloaked in the Shadows?
It's a weird and wonderful podcast.
Yeah, and I say, everyone listening today, she's in the new year. I think a New Year's resolution this year is to keep the intro down as quick as you can. You've had it before now. You've got it before
I used
5
to
minutes.
quote the blurb, didn't I?
Yeah. But anyway, we have a guest.
Good job.
And I've not actually asked this lady where she's actually from yet because I forgot to write it down before. So, which is typical me. But we do have wonderful Laurie Morse with us today. Now, Laurie, we're going to talk about various topics with you, obviously. So tell us, first of all, then, obviously, where you're from and a little bit about yourself as a person.
Sure. So I'm currently at and from San Diego, California in the U.S. So a lot of people think of that as the warmer part of the U.S., one of the warmer parts. They're not wrong, although it is cold right now because we're winter. And a little bit about me as a person. Well, I just love life. I mean, life and life force and Chinese medicine. And I happen to be an artist. And what that has taught me is that the creative life force is everywhere. And it's, I always feel like we've been, all of us humans have been dropped into this matrix. And it's a crazy matrix of paranormal, normal, physical, metaphysical, that gets all tangled up together. And that on a soul level, we knew that we were going to drop into this maze and that we would be looking for the cheese, so to speak. You know how rats or mice get put into mazes for the cheese. And the cheese to me is the essence of life that is beauty and this like falling into an understanding that we get to play with energy. And that's probably one of the most juicy things to me. And aside from that, I'm in love with nature, love to read, love doing my art, love hanging out with my husband, love a good glass of wine every once in a while. That's probably enough. I'll stop now.
Well, in Amanda's case, it's usually Bailey's, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, now, you've given us a couple of options, directions we're going to begin with here. I wanted to talk to you about your Chinese medicine, but we'll do that later. But
Okay.
if you don't know, first of all, talk us a bit more about life force. Your views on life force.
Well,
About that direction.
I know you said we'll talk about Chinese medicine later, but I have to say one thing about it because it has taught me so Chinese medicine uses this concept called qi, and it's just a Chinese word for life force or energy. So it has taught me that everything is life force. So if we think about it from what would we call the quantum physics perspective, every particle and wave of the universe is life force, right? And if we even parse it out a little bit more, it's light, and light carries love. And so the whole fabric of the universe is this combination of light and love. And then we get to, as physical beings, we get to play with that in time and space. And we think, a lot of times human beings think they're at the mercy of the field, if they will. But once we start learning that we're co-creators with life, it changes the game.
Yeah, no, I agree completely with that one. Now, Amanda, do you want to go with your first question?
Yeah, this came from looking at your website and I was curious about it. How does creative healing improve heart health?
Oh, that's a good question. So we've been talking about life force. The life force that is just, what's the word when it doesn't have impartial to anything, right? It is creative by nature, which means we have that same creative life force coursing through us all the time. It's beating our heart, pumping our blood, digesting our food, giving us words to speak right now. Well, the portal to that is our heart. And so when people have anything going wrong with their heart, whether it's, whatever, there's a long list of ways that things can be going wrong with the human heart. It is a message of intelligence for that human being to begin a deeper relationship with their higher presence, their creative life force. And it's better if that's done through the heart because we think our head is the way to do it. But literally that our head is so limited and it's based on past and future worries and anxieties. It's just not if our head could heal us, it would have done it by now, but it is not capable of doing that. So we must include our heart. We must drop into our body and let all of those cells that have a blueprint for wholeness already coded in it. Like we have 70 trillion cells, right? And every one of those cells has a blueprint for health, all of our organs to be healthy, including our heart. So our job is to drop in and start engaging with that part of ourselves. And it just so happens that if one wants to engage creatively, it doesn't mean they have to go paint or sculpt or, but it means be in a conscious relationship with that part of ourselves to maybe plant a garden or be present while we're making a plate of food and serving food to other people or ourselves or whatever. Maybe we engage that part of ourselves to have a better conversation with a family member or a partner or someone in our work. It's constant. We're doing it anyway. We're just not consciously aware of it.
Okay, man. Yeah, that's actually quite. It shows how well organised we are, everybody. I didn't actually know what that first question was. Amanda was going to say.
Okay.
I know what the second question is because I caught a hint of it before, but we'll come on to that in a bit. So now I've been reading actually your free download book on your website.
Yes.
Turn to Love, and I really enjoyed this book as well. Actually, I recommend everybody get hold of a copy of this.
Oh, you already read it? Oh, wow. Oh,
yeah.
Cool.
It was like I said, it's only quite a short book. So when I'd look at this afternoon, if it had been 500 pages, I might have squirmed, but it was quite short, so I read it this afternoon. So, but I was very interested in learning a bit more about your section on divine masculinity energy is a courageous alignment with the light of life. So, do you want to tell us more about that? I think that sounds quite particularly interesting.
Yeah, so before life force that is impartial extends itself into a physical time-space reality like we have here on Earth, there is no masculine and feminine. It's just the all that is, right? So in order to have a dance or a play off of energy in a time-space reality like we're in on Earth, it separated itself into masculine and feminine. And we can call that, light and love, alpha, omega. It's kind of talked about in all traditions, but maybe with using different words. So the masculine energy, you did say masculine, right?
Yeah, I did say masculine.
Okay. I want to make sure. Oh my God, I might be going down that hole. Yeah. So the masculine energy is the light and the feminine energy is the love. Now, this isn't Mars, Venus stuff. This is just the way the vibration or the frequency of the masculine and the feminine sort of relate to each other. And light carries love. They can never be separated, right? Because they come from the same whole. And, the Tao talks about this too. Like before the two, there was the one. And then there was the two. This is the masculine and the feminine, the yin and the yang, right? And then there were the 5 things, and those were the 5 elements. And then there were the 10,000 things. And that's all the things we see on the planet, right? And so if we just are aware of that, we can utilize our light consciously. We can send light to places in the world that are struggling hard. I do this all the time. And this is the use of my masculine energy. This is the light of life that never fails if we use it. And then the love is the eternal love, the eternal fabric of all of life, that if we're just consciously cultivating a relationship with it, it will teach you everything you need to know. It has taught me everything I need to know, including things about paranormal.
We got it in, Amanda. We've got the paranormal in there, definitely. On to Amanda, the second question.
Yeah, so slightly different, but also slightly similar to my first question. But would creative healing work for someone with chronic pain?
Now, before you answer that, Laurie, 1 second, you should expand on that a bit more, Amanda, as well.
I've suffered with chronic pain for about 11 or 12 years now.
Yeah. So did you want to say anything more about that before I launch?
It started, I just woke up one day with like a really excruciating pain in my neck and I couldn't even lie down on the pillow. And it sort of went from there and got worse. If you can imagine it getting worse than that.
Do you want to tell Laurie a bit about the background, what you think calls that as well.
I don't know, do I?
You think it was? You did you did a marathon, didn't you? Did it come from
No,
that?
it wasn't that. I was training for like some running events and things like that. But it could be from like my childhood because the doctor said I had a bent spine, and it might have sort of processed from there because it is in my back now as well as my neck. But I'm not a doctor, so I don't know.
So a couple of things. So one of the tenets of Chinese medicine is that anytime there's pain in the body, it means that there's a stagnation or a blockage of life force. Now, so in the body, life force is, we don't see it, right? But we can't say it doesn't exist. It's kind of like the wind. The wind blows the trees and makes the branches sway, but we don't see the wind. But we also can't say the wind doesn't exist, right? So qi is something in the body or life force in the body that can get stuck. And there are any number of reasons why or how that could be. And then also there could be stagnation of blood or lymph or nerve conduction. So those are the main things that can get stuck. How, just to get back to your original question, how a creative life force can help with this is because anytime we put our attention into something and we have an intention. So I was trained in intentional creativity. So we can do a creative process and we can go at it with an intention such as, what does my spine and my neck need to be free or to heal or to be pain-free, right? Like whatever words you would want to put to it. You could write that on a piece of paper. A simple way to do it is you could get watercolor pencils. I mean, this is just, I'm not saying you should, but this is one way, right? And with those watercolor pencils, you could write on a watercolor paper and you could write everything you know about your neck and your back. And then you can ask a question like, what would you have me know? What is the message of intelligence that this pain is trying to have me know? And then you could take water, like a brush with water on it, and just blur all of that. And with the intention that you're dissipating or dissolving or allowing for the pain that is held in your system to dissolve or be carried away by a flow. Water is a flow, right? And then you can make other intentions. You could put like collage pieces on top, claiming a pain-free self, right? Like that's just one way that you could do it. The thing to be also intentional about, because I watch this with people, and I've had this experience myself, is to trust that your pain is healable, right?
Yeah.
By the life force that's greater than you. That is the ultimate healer on the planet.
Okay, have you got anything else you want to pass there, Amanda?
No.
Yeah, you're talking, that's quite handy, that, what you've done there, Laurie, because I was going to ask you about your art next. I think you should talk, now you touched on your art, your colours and stuff like that, and the water. Tell us a bit about, I know your art comes into this as well, comes into some of the healing, doesn't it, as well? So tell us about that next.
Sure. So when menopause hit, when I was in my 20s, I tried to draw a teapot and it came out horrible. And I just, claimed myself not creative and not an artist.
What's the initials are, okay, Laurie, that's all I'm going to say. Nice.
Okay. But then when I went through menopause, which was about 20 years ago, I was suffering. I couldn't sleep. I didn't sleep for 4 months. I had pain. I had no motivation. I was crying all the time. I mean, the list is long. I'll stop there. And I didn't know how to get through. And I was doing, as a healthcare provider, I was doing all the things I knew to do. And I was kind of surprised, actually, that it was going down this way. So I kept getting these catalogs from the local university about taking this art program. And I kept telling myself, because I got 2 or 3 of them, and I thought, well, when I retire, I'll do that. But then there was one time I thought, why would I wait? Why don't I just do it now? There was something that was prompting me to do it. So I thought, okay, I'm just going to do it. And, long story short, it was being creative became my lifeboat through the pain and the misery of menopause. And then I realized, oh, everyone is creative. And a few people start out as prodigies and they're fabulous from the beginning, but most of us have to practice. Most of us have to apply ourselves day in and day out. And then it starts becoming more of a natural thing, right? And then I stumbled across this intentional creativity experience and soul art and all these programs that taught me, as I took myself through them, that taught me to use creativity very intentionally to heal. And so, if people go to my website, createtohealstudio.com, there's these creative healing processes, and you can just play with them and learn how the engagement of a creative process, because it causes us to be one with that same life force that heals, can be applied to anything that's going on in our mind or our body or our life. Mm-hmm. And then I just turned myself into an artist because I couldn't stop creating art.
Amanda, I know you've took up bits of art, haven't you, and stuff like it. Is that still a method?
Digital art and
digital,
writing and painting offline.
Yeah. Tell Laurie a bit about that, because I think it does link into what she's saying there.
Yeah, I've done some book covers. I've done a book cover for Andy, and I've done a book cover for one of his friends who was really happy with it.
Yeah, okay. I think what you've done there, Laurie, is very similar to what I think Amanda's done. Because you couldn't really draw before that, could you really? So
no, I could just sort of change things online and get photographs that I've changed and do different things and things like that.
That's why. So it's similar. I think you two are both doing in a roundabout way there.
One of the things that I've experienced, and when I teach to people, they experience a similar thing, which is if we set an intention, our heart is the same level as our shoulders and the flow through our arms and our hands, right? So we can use any implement, like if it's a pencil or the keyboard, or a paintbrush, and we can flow energy through there for a very specific intention so that we can be praying for a part of the world or praying for ourselves. I mean, it's a prayer that we engage ourselves with. And it's so powerful, even if one can't really grasp how it would change or, be a gift or blessing to another part of a world, it definitely changes our own energy. And you can feel that in the engagement of it. It's really something.
Yeah, it's fascinating what you're saying there. Now, the last question I've got for you, and I don't think Amanda's got any more questions. No. Well, that's but one question anyway, is I know you've been on this journey now for 30 years, over 30 years. I saw it from your website. Have you found, and has your approach changed much over this time period?
Well, I would say the change is that it's deepened. I knew from the beginning that there was something that there was something about life force. And on the website, and I don't know if you guys are going to have in the show notes, I don't even know if I shared it with you. I can give any listener a free gift on how to cultivate this energy we're talking about. So what has changed is that it has deepened. And I now am 100% clear, not just in my head, but in every cell of my body, that this is a thing. And it's a thing that we're meant to be in relationship with. And that it's not only outside of us, but it's personal. It's the thing that makes up our entire physical experience. I heard from a teacher some years back that we're 96% non-physical and only 4% physical, yet we place all of our focus and attention on this, our arms and our legs and our pains and our 4%, right? But when we start drawing in and I don't know, participating with this 96% physical, so much can be elevated and shifted and alchemized. I love that word alchemy because, we talk about alchemy, we talk about lead to gold, but what does that actually mean? What it actually means is that we're supposed to, as human beings, we're supposed to alchemize our heavy, dense, painful, traumatized energy into light. Oh my God. That's the whole point of being here. That's my job.
No, I think it's fascinating that. Amanda, have you got anything you want to comment further about that?
No, but it's interesting.
Yeah, certainly. Now, the last question I always ask on the podcast, Spoken Label, and I try to do it here as well, Laurie, as well, is, well, last one. This one question, two parts really, is what do you envisage how your creativity is going to take you next? Any ideas or directions?
It's such a funny thing. The microcosm and the macrocosm, right? So the microcosm is I sit down with an idea in front of my blank canvas, and I think I have a direction that it's going to go, and then the creative life force has her own ideas, and I just follow her.
Yeah, so it's kind of... I can relate to this. I guess I'd go better writer. I call it my muse as well. Sometimes it's like something's directing you to do it, and you don't even know you're doing it yourself. Sometimes I do that. I sit down and I write, and I don't know where it's going, and it tends to do it yourself. And you've had that before. I've seen this one do this before.
I've meant for it to go in one direction, and it's turned into something completely different.
Right, and you just have to go with it, right? It's like, that's just the way it's going to be. Well, it's the same thing with my art. I mean, I have this idea, but honestly, I have given the reins over to this muse who seems to love to drive the bus.
Yeah. I can see what you're getting at it with that straight away. No, it's I think sometimes it just you just can surprise yourself sometimes because when I first started writing, I was a poet really. I haven't really written any poetry for 7 months now to be writing other stuff. And in about 15 minutes last night, Friday night, a couple of nights ago, I sat down while watching a TV program and I wrote this poem in 15 minutes, and I thought,
boom, yeah.
What became like that? I don't know where that came from. But you've done a story recently, man. What story was it about?
Oh, I don't know. I wrote a couple at the beginning of the week.
There was one of them.
They were for specific submissions, so I had like a theme. So I just sort of got to the theme and just see where it led me.
Yeah, it's almost like saying your life forces took you in that direction, isn't it? Yes.
Well, that's it. That's exactly it. And I trust the life force now 100% with everything in my life. I ask it into every crack and crevice of my life, and it is the boss of my art.
That's good to me. That way, if it's rubbish, you can blame your life force, can't you? Know yourself.
Yeah, there you go.
I've done my life force. Life forces don't want to go me now. We're right. Because I was joking. Right, Laurie, obviously, we're going to do the wrap up here anyway. So, obviously, people to find out more about you, where's the best place to go? Seriously.
Yes. So, the website would be the createtohealstudio.com. And then, shall I send you the link to the free gift? Because it's kind of a long.
Yes, do that. I'll put the right up. Yeah. I know you've got a separate website for your art as well, haven't you? As well, as I'm sure you do.
I do. Yes. Oh, thank you for it. You can access everything through the Create to Heal website, the art, the Sacred Health Academy, the free gifts, all that. But Laurie Morse Art is my art website. Yes.
Brilliant. Yeah, that's fine. It's been a pleasure today. I've really enjoyed this today, actually. And I can even tell when Amanda's not enjoying something because she starts elbowing me and saying, shut up.
That's funny. Well, thank you for no elbows.
Yeah, so hang around, Laurie, because we need a quick word to you off mic anyway.
Oh, after.
Okay.
Bye, everyone.
You say something else, don't we? You said that everyone's wondering. Now we're going to look into the shadows. This is a bye, everyone.
No, it's not creepy enough, is it, this podcast?
Thanks again, Laurie. We'll see you all soon.
Thank you.
Cloaked in the shadows.